The entertainment talking sports.
What is going on, football fans? Back at it with another New York Giants video as rumors are starting to come out that Devin McCourty may in fact be interested in joining the New York Giants football team. McCourty, of course, is a free agent who is up there in age. He will be 33 this upcoming season, but is still playing at a very high level. The New York Giants, of course, at this point in time have Antoine Bethea in that position, but most people expect Bethea to be released, which would enable the Giants to bring McCourty in if they so chose to in free agency. Of course, there's a connection here, which I'm going to get into some of the quotes that McCourty had to say about Joe Judge, but Joe Judge coached McCourty. If you did not know, McCourty does play special teams for the New England Patriots in addition to playing the safety position where he has thrived and has been a two-time Pro Bowler. What would I think about this hire? I will get more, this potential signing. I'll get more into that in this video, but the only way I would even entertain bringing someone like McCourty in is if it was a short-term deal. I don't really mind the money. It's about the years for me. If you get him on a 2-year deal where you could cut him after 1 if he's not good, or a 3-year deal where you could cut him after 2, that's not the end of the world to me. That's not a big deal. But I will pull up the list of what safeties do get paid in the NFL nowadays, the top paid safeties. But when you factor in his age, I don't think he would break the bank. He also does have roots to New Jersey. He grew up in New Jersey. I'm not sure if he was a Giants fan, but I remember the last time he was a free agent, I think it was in 2015, before he signed on with the Patriots, there was rumors that he could potentially be interested in coming to the New York Giants. Before it fell through, it didn't happen. But there's always been a flirtation there with him potentially joining the Giants. And he let it be known that he would not mind joining the Giants. But he basically, from what I read, let it be known that he would not mind playing anywhere. He wants to go to the highest bidder. And at his age, he's already won Super Bowls. And he sees that New England is probably not going to be winning a Super Bowl anytime soon if they move on from Tom Brady. He might as well try to get as much money as he wants. He also basically said that he would not mind coming in for a rebuilding program because he believes in Joe Judge. But I'll pull up the exact quotes right here. And there is Devin McCourty. This is the first thing I wanted to pull up for you guys. This is what some of the highest paid safeties in the league get. But what you want to look at is the age, of course. Eddie Jackson is the highest paid safety. He makes $14.6 million a year and is probably the most talented safety in the league. Makes a lot of plays in that Bears defense. And then you got, the Honey Badger last year struck it big. And he's now 28 years old. He made $14 million a year. Landon Collins, of course, the former New York Giant, made $14 million a year, which made him the highest paid safety, I believe, at the time. And yeah, you go down this list, and at the bottom of it, or near the bottom of it, is Devin McCourty. However, he's going to be 33 years old. He's coming off a year in which he made $9.5 million for a total guarantee of $28.5. I believe it was a 4-year deal. So if I'm the Giants, would I mind giving him that amount of money per year on a shorter contract? No. I'd cut Bethea. I'd save $2.75. I'd bring him in for $9.5 on a 2 or 3 year deal with the ability to cut him after 2. That's not the end of the world to me. He'd bring some veteran leadership, and he's still very good. I'm not a huge PFF guy, but he graded out very well. I think he had over an 80 grade there, and he's still one of the better safeties in the league, and I'll get into that in a second. Here are his stats. He's been playing since 2010. Like I said, he's a 2-time Pro Bowler. He has some experience as a cornerback, but obviously predominantly as a safety. The last time he made the Pro Bowl was 2016, but this year he had a really strong year at the age of 32 for the New England Patriots, right as he was about to hit free agency. He had 5 interceptions, which was his second highest total for his entire career, and came up with a number of tackles. He had 58 combined tackles. Just a really good player. He's always been a really good player. He's been a leader, and he's a guy who has some familiarity with Joe Judge and would bring some leadership to an incredibly young secondary. I mean, you take a look around the secondary, you've got guys like Love, you've got, they're all young. Every guy in that secondary is young. Beal, so he would bring, some leadership, which is what I think they wanted Antoine Bethea to bring, but Antoine Bethea just wasn't very good anymore. This guy, at least, is still performing at a very high level. When we brought, which is why we got Bethea for as cheap as we did, he was already over the hill, and McCourty could be approaching that. Obviously, we saw that Nate Solder didn't play so well after he left the Patriots, and maybe McCourty would be the same. Of course, when you go to a team where the strengths aren't the same as the team you previously left, you get exposed. And the Giants' defense certainly isn't as good as the Patriots. It was one of the best defenses in football. But I still think he's a good player and could add something to this New York Giant team. The question is, what's the price and the years? Next up, I wanted to pull up for you guys is this. I'm always open to talk to anybody, McCourty told the New York Post. That's how I view it. So he's basically saying there, I'll talk to whoever pays me. That's basically what he's saying. McCourty very nearly signed with the Giants in 2015, but instead chose to return to New England, where he worked alongside Joe Judge, taking an average of more than 100 special team snaps per year. Judge has since called McCourty one of the best all-around players in the NFL. So that is where, to me, this becomes a very real possibility. Not only is McCourty interested in potentially joining the Giants, but Joe Judge, who's coached him in the past, obviously thinks very highly of him, being that he played on special teams, played well, and he said he's one of the best all-around players in the league. So I would think Joe Judge would have some interest in bringing this guy in on if the deal is right. Next up, McCourty had to say, I like Joe, McCourty said. I think he's a well-prepared and passionate. So he has a chance to be a really good head coach, which is encouraging to hear from McCourty. But of course, we know what his real motive is money. He was so good on special teams, it was annoying for how much stuff he would want you to do. I'm excited for him. I think he has the attitude to be in New York. He'll challenge guys. He'll be cursing. He's from Philly, so he has that background. And of course, he's close to Philly. He's from Jersey, so it seems as if he really respects Joe Judge, and that is at least part of the reason why we'd consider going to the New York Giants. McCourty may be a defensive stalwart. He hasn't missed a start since the 2015 season, which is another thing you have to factor in. Yeah, he's up there in age, but at least for the most part, throughout his entire career, he's going to be out there every day. So, and the best ability is availability. But that doesn't mean he doesn't play special teams. In fact, he started on Joe Judge's blah, blah, blah. We already read that already. He had 58 total tackles. He also played the second most snaps on the Patriots defensive unit, behind Pro Bowler Gilmore. So, there you go. He's played more than anybody on the team, even at his ripe old age, and was one of the best players on the New England Patriots defense. And then finally, I wanted to pull this up for you guys. He was ranked as the third best free agent safety this upcoming offseason. Patriots captain Devin McCourty has an interesting predicament come March 18th. Well, he did have one of his best seasons to date in 2019. His age and loyalty will likely factor into where he plays next season. Well, I don't think that's the case. I don't think his age or loyalty are going to play any factor into where he plays next season. It seems to me that he's willing to go to the highest bidder. And the highest bidder, if it's the New York Giants, that will be the team he goes to. Now, will a team on the open market be willing to pay McCourty 4 years? That's the question. And it better not be the New York Giants. I don't want to sign this guy from age 33 to 36, or that doesn't make sense to me. If you want to sign him on a short-term deal, that makes a lot of sense. I've been very outspoken about the fact that I don't want to sign guys to 5-year deals. And I know we're not signing McCourty to a 5-year deal, but it's players like this that I would not be opposed to signing. Stopgap players, guys on 2-year deals that you could get rid of after a year, or 3-year deals that you could get rid of after 2 years, because we're going to need as much cap flexibility as we need in 3 or 4 years when we want to retain Saquon Barkley, when we want to retain Daniel Jones. As a matter of fact, I think it might be a good idea to extend Saquon Barkley next year, and to be able to do that, you need to have the available cap space. And the reason I think it might be smarter, if you're going to keep him anyway, you want to get the best years out of him. So if you were to extend him for an additional 5 years next year, he'd only be 23, 24. You'd have him through 29. If you wait till his contract's up, you're extending him through 31, 32. Makes less sense. Plus, it's cheaper at this point in time before the market goes up. So that's another reason why I think the Giants want to have as much cap flexibility as possible to extend players like Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley even before they hit free agents, if they plan for these guys to be there long term. And signing guys like McCourty, guys that might be a little bit over the hill, but on shorter term deals, makes more sense than signing a guy on a 5-year contract who's going to tie up all your cap space. And then, of course, McCourty brings leadership. He brings familiarity. And he'd be comfortable here, right? He grew up in New Jersey. He played in New England. He's old. He has kids. I think he has kids. He definitely has a wife. He's not looking probably to move, halfway across the country, even though I'm sure he would if that's who gave him the best offer. But I'm sure he probably might even take a discount to stay in New York, being that he's from here. And he probably wants to be familiar. He's familiar with the coach. He's familiar with the area. He grew up there, and that's my take on it. I think he would not mind being a New York Giant. That's for sure. Is it something he's dreaming about? Probably not. He wants to get paid, but could make sense if you get him on the right deal. Could be a nice player for the Giants to add. Is he going to get the fan base overly excited? No. But these are the types of players that I think the New York Giants could use. Leaders, guys in the locker room that could teach the younger players how to play at a higher level. And this guy is no slouch. He had like I said, over an 80 grade on PFF. Was a borderline Pro Bowler this year. He was a big part of that New England Patriots defense. So I think the Giants should consider him if the deal is right. I'm talking 3 years, $27 million with no dead cap hit after 2 years. You could get rid of him at the age of 35. You clean your hands and you move on. I'm not giving this guy a lot of guaranteed money or a long deal. If the deal is right, I'm interested. As always, guys, if you like what you watch, please subscribe. Drop a comment. Maybe give me a little thumbs up. Cheers.